Once again, welcome to our discussion. We are already through with Maya and Inca, if you can recall. This part in our discussion is about the continuation of the Aztec Empire or Aztec civilization. So, as a recap, Aztec civilization is now, or at the modern day, it's the city of Mexico or Mexico City. We've tackled about cocoa or cacao as their mode of currency, and this one is already through about beverages. I made mention about sikwate, if you can still recall. Now, how about the social structure of the Aztec Empire? Okay. So there are three categories of castes or caste system. Ito yung, sa Tagalog pa, ito yung mga parang antas or grupo ng tao sa society ng mga Aztec. You have the nobility, ito yung mga mayayaman. They are the wealthy and the powerful. You have the peasants and the slaves. So who are the members of the nobility? Being a nobleman in the Aztec culture, it doesn't require for you to become a son and daughter of a noble family. Being noble is being earned. Okay? Pinaghirapan. Because it's not hereditary in their culture. Unlike Europeans, if your father is a king, automatically, if you are next to the throne, like ikaw ang panganay, you will inherit the kingdom. So, king ka rin later on pag wala na ang father mo. But for the Aztec culture, the status is earned. Earned means you have to pass all the necessary requirements for you to become a noble citizen. So, being born to noble parents did not necessarily mean you would become a noble. So, which is good because everyone are given a chance, especially those who are striving hard and earning parang earning their status. Now, the second group of people are the majority. Ang tawag sa kanila, peasants. Peasants are they're also known as the workers or the working class. So, very few of the peasants from the Aztecs are farmers. Most of the Aztec peasants are artisans and warriors. So, artisans are builders and parang sila yung taga-beautify ng lugar. Kaya ang ganda ng kanilang empire. And warriors. Warriors are important for them to protect their empire at the same time to expand and exploit yung mga neighboring neighboring towns or neighboring places. Now, the third and the lowest sa hierarchy are called the slaves. So, who are the slaves? Sila yung prisoners of war, mga criminals, and people whom may utang sa kanila. As payment for a debt, you have to serve the family na meron kang utang. Okay? The social structure, like Maya, ang mga Aztec naman, they intoxicate themselves. But, ang matatanda lang ang pwedeng malasing. Ang ganda. Which is nice. So, sino yung nasa tamang edad? Sa atin, 18 and above. For them, when you say elders, ito yung 50 and above. So, swerte-swerte sila lolo. How about the education system of the Aztec culture? So, from 0 to 14, they are under the supervision of their parents. So, 0 to 14. Dito na part, tinuturuan sila ng magandang asal, prayer, ano yung mga nakukuha sa bahay, mga household chores, and then tutulungan nila ang kanilang tatay sa pagtatanim or fishing. So from 0 to 14, you will be under the supervision of your parents. But at age of 15 and above, regardless mayaman mahirap, boys and girls of all classes, they have to go to school. It's a requirement. Same as ngayon, all of you must go to school. Walang exemption. Okay, remember ha, this is from the ancient times. Mahalaga ang education para sa mga Aztecs. Unlike the Philippines before, if you will study our own history, only the nobility, yung medyo may kaya ang pwedeng makapag-aral. Tapos ang mga bata naman, tinuturuan lang ng mga prayers and catechism. Yun lang. So, Aztecs were the first one to require all children to go to school. So, meron silang schools, ang tawag nila sa schools, it's so hard to pronounce, Telpokhali. So, dito sa Telpokhali, they are taught about warfare, military training, parang PMA nila yan. Ang Kulmekak naman, this is the formal school. When you say formal, you are taught how to write, to read the stars, that's astronomy, and then theology about your religion. Pero, there's a but. Girls were taught domestic skills and religion only. They are not asked to read and write. Okay? There is a discrimination for girls sa Aztec culture. Kasi sa kanila, girls are bearers of children. Bearers meaning factory lang sila na paggawa ng bata and household chores. Wala silang kinalaman sa political and other affairs. So, yan yung Aztec. Now, for their religion, they are mainly agricultural people. So, their religion is dependent heavily on the forces of nature and they worship that force of nature. So, kaya sinasamba nila ang araw kasi it gives them sunlight for their crops. At hindi nila dapat ma-offend ang araw, baka magbibigay yun ng sobrang init that causes drought and then from drought, magiging famine. And then they also worship the wind. They even worship rain, yung mga clouds. Okay, ganun ang kanilang mindset. So saan sila may pakinabang, sinasamba nila. And then, the Aztecs also believe that there are good and bad gods. So you have to please or appease the benevolent gods, meaning the good gods. Doon ka dapat mag-pray para matalo niya yung mga bad gods. So, they also practice this parang brutal method of worship. Ito yung human sacrifice. That's why I made mention sa first video na have you able to watch the Apocalypto? Yung movie na yun? Victims of sacrifice were usually prisoners of war. So, sumasalakay sila ng mga village and then kinukuha nila yung mga tao either gawing slave or yung mga qualified gagawin nilang human sacrifice. Some Aztec warriors would volunteer for more important sacrificial rituals. So the god Lalok, okay, it was believed to prepare children as sacrificial victims. I will not anymore elaborate ano yung ginawa or gagawin nila sa mga biktima. Basta uhaw sa dugo ang kanilang mga gods. Okay, I have here the picture. Kayo na bahala humusga kung anong ginagawa nila sa kanilang victims. Okay, most of them are prisoners of war or mga slaves. I have also here another depiction of their ritual. This one was taken from their codex. And this one is their god Lalok. Ito yung mahilig sa bata. Okay, kinakain niya yung puso ng bata. But in fact, ang priest ang kumakain ng puso, ang blood na pupunta sa mga gods. Okay, very gruesome but for them, it's normal. Now, how about their agriculture? Uh, Tenochtitlan, yung city na binanggit ko kanina, was constructed on swampland and not suited for farming. So, ang tawag sa mga, kasi swamp man yun, meron silang chinampas. Chinampas are floating gardens or artificial islands made of soil and reed mats that were placed in lakes Texcoco. So, if you will observe the picture, kasi swampy area ang Tenochtitlan, gumagawa sila ng mga floating gardens. Ganyan. Ang tawag nila dyan, chinampas. Okay? Ito pa, 1, 2, 3, 4. Diyan nila tinatanim. And I have also here a picture of their fields. Sobrang lawak because if nakapunta kayo ng Amerika, that is a very, very vast continent. That's why, kung magtatanim ka dyan, ang usapan doon, hindi square meters. Kung hindi acres or hectares gayon. Ben wide gayon. Okay? This is the schematics of how the way they plant. Ito nagsisimbolize ng river. Ito naman dike, merong footprints. It means they already have an idea of what irrigation is. And this one are separate parang properties by different family. Ito yung mga farmlands nila. The same as today, if you will look at Google Map, may makikita kayong mga square. Ganyan din ang plastada. So, napaka-advanced nila sa agriculture. Now, during the Spanish conquest, okay, sa arrival ng mga Spanyol sa Latin America in 1519, if you know the story about El Dorado, wherein Pizarro and Cortez, they landed in the Aztec parang empire, brought with them are 500 Spaniard soldiers, and then kinidnap nila yung leader na si Rome. So it's Montezuma, and then pinaparansom nila ng gold. And it was believed that gold is very, very common sa mga Aztec. For us, gold is so valuable, but for them, kung anong nakikita mo sa bakal, ganun lang ang gold sa kanila. Kasi sobrang abundant and they do not have any idea na it's valuable. So, kinidnap nila yung leader na si Montezuma in exchange sa lahat ng mga metalwares nila, especially gold. So, may paniniwala na umuwi si Pizarro pati Cortez sa Spain, yung buong bangka na sinakyan nila or ano ba yun, sasakyan, galleon ba or whatsoever, punong-puno ng gold. That's why Spain became the richest European country during that era. And they also consider themselves as the superpower of the world. So that the greatest country sila noon. Halos kasabay lang to. 2 years later, 1521, na-discover nila ang Philippines. Wala naman silang gold dito. Nakuha talaga. Now, the Aztec civilization has also made substantial contribution to science and technology and to the society as a whole. Ano yun? Mandatory education. Na-mention ko yan kanina, very specific. And they also contributed chocolates. The chocolates that we enjoy right now, thank you sa mga Aztecs. Kasi they said, it's the most beautiful and delicious food sa mundo, chocolate. And then, antispasmodic medication. Ano to? They use it as a type of antispasmodic medication that could prevent muscle spasms and relax muscles, which could help during surgery. So, parang a form of anesthetic or pampa-relax sa muscle or muscle spasms. Pwede rin mga menthol kasi sa kanila tumutubo yung eucalyptus, yung malamig yan siya pag ilagay sa balat. Kung familiar kayo sa Pau de Arco, Vicks, Betit, yan, anti-spasm. I made mention about Chinampa. This is their contribution to agriculture, yung floating garden. They have also their calendar. Na-mention ko rin ito previously. And the invention of the canoe. You know what's a canoe? A canoe is a boat but it is made of one piece of wood only. Unlike yung bangka natin ngayon, maraming wood yan pinag-combine. Pero ito naman, this is a light, narrow boat used for traveling in water system. This is made of a very huge log and then kinerve nila yon na magmukhang bangka. So isang piraso lang yan.